Time for a different direction to absolutely anything and everything. But with that being said, the most obvious question could be is, how's this all to begin? Yet if it were to be left in the unknown state, and although this is to involve the explorative experience that is able to be described as the walk of life, yet if it were to also explore the idea of individuals being the state of magical mushrooms within this emotional, physical, discursive state of existence. Now, I would be acknowledging that mushrooms are able to be described as the oldest living emotional, physical being within this emotional, physical, discursive state of existence. But due to its physical existence, it's also acknowledging that it exists with what is able to be described as a fungi personality, and this is to be associated with the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness of the mushroom. But it is also acknowledging that the mushroom hasn't come to question its existence as with the universal laws, as with the earthly laws, and it has come to accept its existence for all that it is and for all that it is able to be, recognizing that the mushroom is in existence with what a higher state of a vibrational energy directed towards the state of awareness compared to that of the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness, recognizing that these magical mushrooms are able to be described as the source of pure known sensational emotional knowledge within the emotional, physical, discursive state of existence, recognizing that if we were to consume these magical mushrooms, we are able to explore the psychedelic experience, which is also able to be described as the induced meditative experience. But where meditation has also been linked to prayer, it is also acknowledging that this is also an induced state of prayer, recognizing that this is when a questionable infinite amount of knowledge that the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness has come to acknowledge from a questionable physical discursive state of existence is sensationally attracted into what is able to be described as the state of emotional reason and purpose, which is to be associated with your emotional consciousness. And through sensationally being attracted, it also comes to sensationally change into what is able to be described as the sensational emotional known state of known knowledge, recognizing that this is to create a state of a sensational emotional state of clarity for the state of awareness to explore. And through this exploration, it is also able to acknowledge something unique within this exploration, whereby this acknowledgement of something unique is also able to inspire the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness to lower its vibrational energy within the emotional, physical, discursive state of existence, and where it is also able to create a sensationally known emotional state of happiness for ourselves to sensationally experience and explore within this emotional, physical, discursive state of existence, but where it is also able to be sensationally explored and experienced by all other emotional, physical beings within this emotional, physical, discursive state of existence. So it would be acknowledging that these magical mushrooms have come to create a state of oneness within ourselves to sensationally explore and experience, whereby this state of oneness is to be associated with the egotistical perspective, the state of awareness, as with the emotional consciousness, whereby it's acknowledging that this state of oneness is also to creatively produce another state of oneness within the emotional, physical, discursive state of existence, whereby the state of oneness is again to be described as the state of unity within the emotional, physical, discursive state of existence. Okay, so reflecting on reality's egotistical laws that have come to be against these mushrooms, plants, cactuses, and even the LSD substance, it would be acknowledging that these laws have also come to be against the sensational state of clarity that is able to be explored and experienced through ourselves, and the sensational state that is able to be creatively produced within the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, acknowledging that these laws are subjecting us to existing as we are and not becoming more than what we are, acknowledging that these laws are restricting us within a questionable state of of a physical existence that is only to influence a state of confusion upon the emotional consciousness that again will only influence the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness to seek out a physical state of happiness within this emotional physical descriptive state of existence, where this physical state of happiness is to be associated with the materialistic worth of money. But acknowledging that money is able to be described as limited and momentary, is acknowledging that this state of money is also able to influence the egotistical perspective to come into a state of hatred, jealousy, greed, envious, and anger, resentment, recognizing that this is only to cause a state of conflict between all other emotional physical descriptive states of beings within this emotional physical descriptive state of existence, acknowledging that this state of conflict is able to be described as a state of violence, and where violence is able to be described as a state of chaos, which is easily to be described as a state of sadness. Again, sadness being associated with the state of death. This notion is supporting the death of individuals, plants, animals, insects, the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence in its entirety. Okay, so as for the idea of individuals being the state of magical mushrooms within this emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, which is an idea that is easily to be directed towards the divine state of Jesus, Yeshua, or the Yogi Issa, acknowledging that this is all one and the same individual, but it is also acknowledging that this individual came to promote the natural substance of manna unto the people for them to consume, for them to enter into a state of clarity through the state of meditation, which again is prayer. But it would also be acknowledging that this individual came to fast and meditate, and during this time only consumed water, and after this time he would then consume the most psychedelic mushroom that there is within this emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, which has been described as the state of the Amanita muscaria mushroom, which again is highly recommended that it is not to be consumed. But after this, he would then urinate and share the psychedelic urination with the disciples for them to also enter into a deeper state of clarity through the state of meditation or through the state of prayer. But on a broader perspective of this, it would also be acknowledging that this individual lived with his parents until the age of 12, then traveled all the way up to the northern part of India, up to the regions of Nepal, where he then studied the spiritual teachings of the universe, which was left by the state of Buddha. He never physically learned from Buddha. He'd learned the teachings of Buddha, and then after 20 years returned to sensationally share this universal spiritual knowledge unto the egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness of other emotional, physical, descriptive states of beings within the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, for them to come into a state of acknowledgement that they are to be freed from a limited and selective distinguished state of reality, acknowledging that this would be saving their egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness into a state that is able to be described as a known sensational emotional state of happiness to be experienced within the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence. But it would also be acknowledging that this distinguished reality has also come to came to persecute this individual and still has persecuted this individual. It has come to persecute other good emotional, physical beings within this emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, recognizing that this has been inflicted against plants, insects, animals, birds, fish, individuals, and even again against the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence as itself, whereby it would also be acknowledging that this reality has come to exist with the idea of a godlike sense of an elusive state, recognizing that this godlike sense of an elusive state is the idea of a government, and where governments have enforced laws to be created for individuals to be controlled, and if you are not within the stipulations of these laws, you are imprisoned, recognizing that this fear is to only enslave us into this distinguished physical descriptive state of reality, which once again persecuted this divine state of being, as with many other good emotional physical descriptive states of beings within this emotional physical descriptive state of existence, recognizing that this notion of support of reality is supporting this death upon this emotional physical descriptive state of existence, whereby it's acknowledging that during the years suicidal increases have been climbing, and as of recent there has been a 40% increase this year on the hotlines within South Africa. So it would be acknowledging that this would also come to influence individuals to state that God has failed them, but if God is love and love is God, this is a vibrational energy that is all within ourselves, and that we have only come to fail ourselves. God has not failed us. We have failed ourselves by supporting the way of a reality and by supporting the existence of a reality. So as for the idea of individuals being the state of magical mushrooms within this emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, which is not only an idea that is able to be directed towards the divine state of Jesus, Yeshua, or the Yogi Issa, but it is also able to be directed towards any individual who has come to inspire a known state of emotional clarity to be acknowledged by the other egotistical perspective states of thought consciousness to creatively produce and inspire a known sensational emotional state of happiness within the emotional physical descriptive state of existence, acknowledging that this is inspiration that is to promote the state of oneness not only within ourselves but within this emotional physical descriptive state of existence, recognizing that these are individuals that are able to be described as Buddha, Gandhi, Bob Marley, Mother Teresa, St. Francis of Assisi, the Dalai Lama, Tony Robbins, even the Oprah, Terence McKenna, Dr. Albert Hoffman. I mean, these are individuals that have sensationally shared knowledge for us to acknowledge through a sensational state, for us to be inspired to create again a known sensational state of happiness within the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, recognizing that any individual is able to be described as a magical mushroom through doing this notion. So, if we were to acknowledge that the reality has come to be an existing state of questionable knowledge, recognizing that this is a state of confusion, recognizing that this is easily to be described as a state of darkness, it would be acknowledging that these sensational ideas, as this one, as with many others that have been explored and shared by other individuals within the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, whether past, present, or future, it will be acknowledging that these sensational ideas is basically stepping into the light, stepping out of this darkness, stepping out of this tunnel of confusion and question, stepping out of the state of comfort and security of this distinguished knowledge that has come to support this limited and selective state of reality. But it would also be acknowledging that these sensational ideas to the ego perspective is are to be described as strange, unusual, and abnormal. And due to fearing these ideas, they will be prosecuted or persecuted. And this has been, and individuals sharing these ideas will also come to experience the same, recognizing that this has been explored by the state of Jesus, the state of Bob Marley, the state of Terence McKenna. This was experienced by many individuals, naturalists in the 60s and 70s, calling for peace and love and happiness, against war, that were again discriminated against for being hippies. And again, on a broader perspective of this, it still exists. Ego's reality has come to discriminate Rastafari culture for their way of life. But again, this way of life is a step out of this tunnel of confusion and out of this tunnel of darkness, recognizing that in this prosecution it is intended to hold an individual or hold the ego within the remain state of darkness, for them to be in a state of comfort and security. And if this state of darkness is able to be described as the state of sadness, it is also acknowledging that this would be supporting the notion of death, whereby reality has proven this through that of global warming, which some idiot on the other side of this planet has come to, or possibly many others have come to claim as a myth, a strange idea, an abnormal idea, a weird idea. So reflecting on the sensational idea that is able to be described as the walk of life, acknowledging that this is a notion of stepping into the light, whereby this is to be an explorative experience that is to reveal the emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence within the definitive state of life through daily updates. And again, after the whole journey, it is to be featured as a full-featured documentary. But if it is able to be described as being within the unknown state, it is also acknowledging that the unknown state is more than what any egotistical perspective state of thought consciousness has come to acknowledge from the limited amount of knowledge that it has come to acknowledge from a selective and limited physical descriptive state of existence, whereby the unknown state is always going to be more than what any of us are able to know, whereby it's acknowledging that this explorative experience is also to reveal more than what any of us may come to have known from this emotional, physical, descriptive state of existence, recognizing that this is to be a 10 to 14 day exploration during the summer period. The entire journey will be walked. It will be a 420k journey to begin with, exploring roads, towns, forests, beaches, and into the mystically unknown. Again, if the light is able to be described as life, acknowledging that this is beyond the state of darkness of a reality, this is to inspire individuals in that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, regardless of what situation that they may be facing at right time. So if it were to support this uplifting and enlightening explorative experience, it could be to email the email address at the end of this feature. And with that being said, may the lovers keep on loving and the haters keep on hating, and if that is within equal understanding, may it be so.